Catapulting Commissions family. What's up, team? Welcome back to this week's episode of the Catapulting Commissions podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Garcia. Guys, we got another phenomenal guest on the roster today. Let me tell you about Dina Buchanan. She is a proficient and highly sought-after real estate investor, educator, and a motivational public speaker. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology, as well as certifications for life business coaching, NLP, sales training, and development. She's traveled across the U.S. and Canada helping individuals find their true path and purpose to reach their full potential. Dina is currently the director of business strategy for the High-End Client Program, which specializes in helping business owners, contractors, and entrepreneurs generate more quality and quantity leads, high-end clients through the system that has proven results. Dina, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Anthony, for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Glad to have you here. Now, Dina, you know, when I got the information to get you on the show, one of the things that sparked my interest in it, and I'd love to kind of share with my audience, you know, why I selected yes. And for those of you that have been listening to the show, we've shared before, we get a lot of requests for people to be on the show. Unfortunately, I can't take everybody because there's only so many weeks in the show. So we try to ensure that our guests give something of value. And Dina has a message that resonates with me. You help generate high-end clients for small business owners.
Correct.
I love that that's the business model you're in. Mm-hmm. There's a problem, though, you and I started chatting about before, and Catapulting Commissions, you're going to want to listen to the end or to the whole episode because we're going to break down this problem that many people have. But give me a little background on the company you're in, what the process is, and how you're helping these business owners generate high-end clients.
So, Anthony, we have a system that works 100% of the time to really optimize a client's profile on LinkedIn or Facebook, Instagram, whatever, or all of them. And that's step one, really getting that optimized so you're attracting to you the exact target audience that you want. That's number one. And then also your messaging and putting out the right exact content to generate the exact match of a client that you want. And drawing them to you, as opposed to traditional marketing approaches. It's kind of a blanket approach, right? They'll take almost like if they were fishing, they would take a big net and they throw it in there and they would grab a whole bunch of fish. Well, a whole bunch of fish is great if you're using every kind of fish, right? For your cooking or whatever. But if you're not, and you're only looking for specific ones, you still got to weed through a lot of the fish that are in that net to get to the right ones. And it takes a lot of time, effort, energy, or you could be actually pitching your product to the wrong person, which that never ends up in a sale. And so that process is really streamlined to help identify and attract to you on a consistent, predictable system, funnels that can bring you your ideal clients to you. So that's really the unique thing about the program is these people come to you, and these are people coming to you, not a cold lead. It's somebody saying, I need your service.
All right. So fun fact, let's break that down. You're telling me that as a small business owner, I can essentially attract the type of clients that I want to me through the system you implement, which, correct. Right, we go off, the traditional way of marketing and generating clients. And how I first started generating clients 20 some years ago, if I did that now, I think I'd be arrested, right? But there's just I can't pester people the way I did back then. I can't knock on the doors, show up unannounced, make phone calls in the middle of the night. Can't do all that fun stuff anymore.
That would be stalking. Yeah, no.
Yeah, you get in trouble now. But you're telling me I can create a system where I attract clients. So if this is a system that I can create, and I'll even say this, there's many business owners out there that believe they have this grasp on marketing. But let's just be honest, they really don't. And I hate if I'm offending you, 100%. Catapulting Commissions family. Let's just be honest. Everyone's good in a certain lane. Not everyone's good in marketing.
Right.
What are some of the mistakes you see people make when they try to create this system on their own? Because you can hear, and I'm sure you have tons of people come to you, I'm already doing this.
Right.
But they're really not.
No, you're right. And, I had a mentor of mine tell me something. It was the most simple 3-word sentence that he ever said to me. And it was the most impactful. Results don't lie.
Mm.
So if you think you have a good system, I'm going to ask you what your results are, and if you're like, well, I'm not where I want to be, well, then we have to reverse engineer that. We got to go back and say, okay, well, if we're not getting the results we want, can we call this a good system? And I don't mean good enough, right? We're talking something that's going to feed the business consistently and predictably all the time. And the number one thing I see, Anthony, and I know you can relate to this, is most people think their target audience is A, but it's really B, because they haven't really done a deep dive into like their client avatar and
Mm.
know exactly, like, if I'm selling widgets, right? I want to sell them to people that want and need that product or service. If I sell to everybody hoping I find that person that needs the product and service, that's the problem. And that's what typical marketing does. They're selling, they figure, well, they go wide, they don't go deep.
Mm. Yeah, it's that spray and pray methodology
Yeah.
of and it
Good one.
yeah, you hear it. I mean, I just,
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a colleague recently that was, his business model was pure volume
Yep.
on cold traffic. And so when I was sharing or when he was sharing some of the analytics for me, I'm like, I gotta be honest with you, I don't if that's a business model that works for some people, great.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I want my business name associated to the
Yeah,
spray and pray methodology because
for sure.
I think you're gonna offend more people than you gain.
100%. Because a lot of people, especially today, I mean, and I think we all can relate to this. We're sensitive to getting barraged by text and email and this, to where most people aren't even opening those things anymore because they expect it to be something they don't need. So when you're speaking directly to the people that need you and need your service, that your messaging is automatically going to resonate with them. It's going to come across, or it should, appropriate, classic, something that really resonates with them and their need for your service or product. And when, we can base our marketing towards the fact that we are, providing a service or a product for somebody. As a business owner, I was talking with one of my partners just this morning, and I said, both of us constantly look at our product and service and say, how can we help more people? How can we be that good at what we do that we can help them be that good at what they do? And when we come at it from that place, there's no way your marketing doesn't resonate with the people that you can help. That doesn't mean I can help everyone, right?
Mhm.
If I'm marketing to, like I said, somebody that, is, I'm selling ice cream, and, I'm only selling it to the people that want and need ice cream, right? Instead of selling it to somebody that's, heaven forbid, got an illness and they can't eat ice cream, um, those are the people we defend, right? The other people are going to resonate with the message of what I'm offering because it's something they want and need.
Oh, I love it. So let's take a step back here.
Yeah.
If I'm a new business, a newer, smaller business, let's say I don't want to say completely new, but let's just say new. I really haven't
Right.
kind of cracked that threshold. I'm kind
Uh-huh.
of just starting to make ends meet. I see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? But I
Mhm.
haven't gotten there yet. Would this system work for me if I was a newer business?
Actually, it would probably not only work for you, but save you probably thousands of dollars in failed marketing attempts, because you could, as a new business owner, get to the exact client avatar match based on what you're providing. So, and a lot of times I hear this with, like, we work with real estate agents, insurance brokers, you name it. We work with all business owners. So everyone thinks because they're selling real estate in houses, right, that they all want the same clients. That's not necessarily true. Um, what kind of people do you like to work with? Do you want to work with people that, are selling? Do you want to listing? Do you want to work with, people that are buying? Do you want to work with people that want to buy high end? Do you want to work with people that have this type of personality or have this type of personality? We could get you dialed in down to the color of clothing, right? If you wanted to get that detailed, which, I'm being facetious. We don't do that. But you know what I'm saying? It's like You can get that deep in your dive so that you're pulling out the quality. It's not about quantity, it's about quality, right? Because if you just run numbers, if a realtor needs to close, 10 deals a month, okay, they need to speak to at least 10 to 12 people a week that are their quality people to do that, maybe, or five, or whatever their number is to get to that goal. So it doesn't matter if they get 100 phone calls. If they're all the wrong people, they're still not going to hit that number. They're not going to close.
I hear that, and I agree with you. And what would you say to that same business owner that, and we've all been there. I've been guilty of this. I'm sure you were guilty of this. There's a certain
Mhm.
point in time where you just want the revenue. Like
Yep.
anybody will come to me. Anybody will come to me, right? I
Yep.
I and how do you what do you have to say to that person? Because sometimes you're in this grasp, I need the revenue, I need the revenue, but you're
Right.
not, in my opinion, you're not always serving the person you're best able capable of serving. What do you say to that person there?
That's a great, great, great question because I was having a conversation with a colleague of mine about scarcity. And that's exactly what that epitomizes. We've all been there, by the way. There's no judgment on this, where, hey, listen, you know what? I've got to make X amount of dollars to pay the rent or pay the mortgage or whatever the case may be. 100% understand that. But what I look at is what preceded that situation, right? What preceded that situation was not doing enough of the right things there. So at some point beforehand, to get your business on a place where you can continually grow, because in business there's no neutral. You're either growing or dying, and people don't realize that there is no neutral in business. If you're not getting a lot of business but you're just chucking along, you're just dying slower, because you've got to continually generate new business, new leads. To This is why it's an ever changing process, it's an ever growing process for a business owner. So what I always tell people is step back and remember why you're doing what you're doing, right? If you're in a business that's a service provider for someone, like a realtor, you're trying to help somebody find their dream home, you can't be in a scarcity place and expect to make money, because like attracts like. And if you're coming from negative, if you're coming from something that is opposite unto that which you want to create for yourself, you'll never get it. People can smell that a mile away. They'll smell that if you're just trying to get them to do something for you rather than help them achieve a goal. So I always have, whenever I do sales trainings, and I do a lot of different ones, I always have people go back in and go, hey, let's take a step back and remind ourselves why we're doing what we're doing. And if we stay true to that mission and we are truly helpful to those people and we want to help them, they feel that. If they feel that you want to help you, they might not even have the words, Anthony, to say, but they will still say no because they don't have that connection. They don't feel like you care enough about them, right? You're just trying to do it for you.
Oh man, it hits so close to home, right? I'm I'm gonna admit this, Catapult Commissions family. Even I'm a little bit embarrassed on this. I recently had a discovery call with someone reaching out to my business, and they're in an industry that I know well, but I've never worked with, and I've
Mhm.
never came in, and
Right.
they were willing to pay a lot of money, and I sat there and I listened to the revenue, and I had a conversation, and
Uh-huh.
despite my efforts on 3 times, I shared with the business owner. It's a very, very good sized small business. I mean, they're doing around 12 to 13 million dollars in annualized revenue. They've been up and
Mhm.
running for 6 years, and they're looking to go from really 12 to 24 and have this massive plan. And I finally had to say, look, everything that I'm telling you is theory. I've not worked in this industry or this segment.
Mhm.
I got to be honest with you. No matter how much I want to work with you, I think you're better off. Let me refer you to a partner of mine who is in this industry and can service you better. And you know what? It felt good to turn
Yeah.
around and tell somebody no. And the amount of revenue they were going to pay me for my services was substantial. But it's just you can't service everybody. Like it just
Yeah.
you can't do that. So I love what you're sharing. The Catapult Commission Family. We have Dina Buchanan on the show today, and Dina is talking about how do we generate leads and create this system to attract the clients we want to come to us. So be sure to tune in right now. And hey, we're going to break down one of the mistakes that many of you are making. So, Dina, as we draw these clients and they come to us, there's one thing you shared that you can't help somebody, right? No matter how many leads we can
Right.
generate for somebody, there's a problem that business owners have that they don't like to hear, but that we can't help them or you can't help them. Can you talk
Right.
a little bit about that problem?
100%. You know, it's not that we can't help them if their problem is that they can't close a lead, then no matter how many leads our system can provide or their system can provide or the service can provide, it's never going to be enough if they can't close them. If they're not able to close on their services. So it's sometimes the problem is twofold, right? Like where you think, okay, I'm not getting the right leads. Well, are you or aren't you? That's the first thing. Let's see if number one, where are you getting them from? What's your service and product? Is this your client? Is this your ideal client? If it's not, then that could be a problem. But really before that, Anthony, like you mentioned, going back to what's your skill set? Have you really sharpened the saw? Have you really practiced and understand how to close someone? And what does that mean? A lot of people, when they hear closing in sales, they think every one of us in sales is just hammer, 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 hammer. And that is actually opposite. A good salesperson helps bring someone a choice. That's it. It's about what their and meet their needs where they are and be able to service very much like your story. And know that if you can't service that person to the highest good for them, that it's just not going to be a win-win. And if it's not a win-win, we want to walk away. And it seems counterintuitive for a commissioned salesperson to think that, but here's the bottom line. Down the road, you got to look big picture, right? And as a business owner, if you were to take that client and you didn't do a great job for them or you fell short, how's that going to affect your business going forward? Your reputation. Oh, wow, is this guy in it for him or in it for me? And the industries that we're in, as big as they are, is as small as they are. Because if somebody's not getting a good service from someone, they're going to tell more people than if they are, right? It's just the law of the way people talk. So getting to the place where you are completely sharpening your saw, it's one of the 7 habits of highly effective people, right? Continue to learn, continue to grow. Don't ever think we know everything, because then that leads to nothing, like we talked about before. And I think once you know and can identify that as the problem, then you can identify your target client and how to talk to them. Messaging on how to talk to those people is huge.
Oh man, absolutely. And speaking of that reputation, right? That you referenced, you're as big as you think it is, as small as you think it is. If you are a regional or local business owner, I mean that group is buckets even
Oh yeah,
smaller.
100%.
Because
100%.
yeah, whether you're the real estate agent, you're a mortgage broker, pest
Mm-hmm.
control service, right? I had my pest control guy was at my house the other day, and I'm like, hey man, I want to help you out. There's some issues I need to take care of, and
Uh-huh.
I care about him. He's worked with me, but in my mind, I'm like, you're 1 or 2 bad reviews away from, hey, you know what? I'm not going to reach out to you anymore. Like
Right.
your reputation's everything. So okay, and Catapult Commissions Family, if you just heard that, broke that down, right? You have to be able to convert the leads that are coming to you. Um, you said something here that resonates with me. 7 habits of highly effective people. I love it because people are consistently always learning. You also mentioned that you do sales training and development.
Yes.
Should, or not even should, let me reframe this question. What would you have to say to the business owners out there that are saying, I don't need help in my sales training process. Like I know what I'm doing. I don't need any more training. We're doing just fine.
You know, the words that you and I talked about before are results do not lie, right? Results do not lie. So I told you, one of my mentors told me that it's the hardest 3 words that you'll ever want to hear. So if you're doing just fine, like take a look at your results and take a look at, am I where I want to be? Am I doing everything that I need to be doing to get to my goals, right? And so there are people that work really hard all day long, but they still aren't reaching their full potential. And it takes a very wise person or a very aware person to go, okay, I'm working really hard. It's not about working harder sometimes, it's about working smarter and saying, you know what, if I haven't hit this goal, be willing to really look at myself and say, okay, well, what's missing? Is it my process? Is it my closing? Is it the way we're generating leads? And one of the things I think I shared with you that we do with the high end client program is when people actually apply to come into our program, because they do an interview with us and we have what's called a breakthrough session. It's about a 9 hour to sometimes an hour. It could go an hour and a half, but usually about an hour call, and it's called a breakthrough call. And we do a deep dive with business owners about where are you in your business? What's your skill set like? What's going on, to identify at least 3 things that are keeping them stuck from getting to that place. And we got to take care of those things as well as build a system of lead gen, right? So being able to identify those things, Anthony, I think is crucial. And it's hard to do for yourself, right? So that's why it's great to have, a breakthrough session, a business coach, somebody that you can get to come in and look from the outside, because they're going to see things differently from their viewpoint and their vantage point than we are when we're in it. All of us, for every single one of us.
Absolutely. I use the analogy with clients. I love how you share that. Like, it's like being in the forest, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're surrounded by a bunch of trees, right? You can only see the trees that are with you in, let's say, a 10-foot radius. You can't see the big picture. So you need someone to come and give you the big picture, or you need someone to say, hey, I'm gonna give you a ladder. We're gonna climb way to the top and we're gonna look at this thing from the macro level. And if you're that business owner right now saying, hey, I don't need help in this process, or I'm doing great, or things are going great for me, right? One, you heard Dina say results don't lie. But 2, I would say this: what worked in 2018 is probably not working in 2023.
100%.
And what's working in 2023, I'm going to tell you, is not going to work in 2026. And let's just be honest here. Our consumers are changing. Like 100%. I look at my children, I'm like, 10 years from now, you are going to be my consumer. I'm going to have, these teenagers, and I have teenage daughters, and like, you are going to be young business professionals or whatever it is. Your generation is going to be the consumer. And what I'm doing now is not going to work for you.
Right.
So let's learn and consistently be learning. So I love your approach on that, Dina. So Dina, as we come here, we're kind of wrapping some things up here as we get to the final few minutes of the show. I'd love to just high level get some last minute thoughts here right now. Right now, as a business owner, there's a lot of scariness out there. Let's just call it what it is. There's scariness, right? Every time there's a political election, it's scariness.
Always.
Every time there's some catastrophic event outside of control, scariness. Housing market, you name it. I've heard every reason under the sun why business owners are nervous right now.
Yes.
If you were to look at this group of business owners and say, hey, here's the top 3 things you have to get in alignment in order to make sure you're ready for the next 2 or 3 years, and that you come out not just okay, but thriving, what would those be?
First thing is sharpen your skills. And that should happen anyway. That should be happening all the time, constantly. Most people, when they're doing well in business, they put that to the side because they don't think about it, because they're like, I'm doing well, so I don't need to change anything. And that's not always the case, because then what happens is, the markets don't change overnight. They really don't. It's a slow process of going up and going down. The only thing constant about that is the change, right? There's always going to be that up and down. So that's why the consistency with our coaching, training, educating ourselves to be the very, very best version that we can be for our clients has to be consistent. So that's number 1. Number 2 is really being willing to look at your processes and do you have the right systems in place? And are your systems, outdated and dinosaurish? Is there something that can be added into it, some automation, some different things that can actually help you reach more people, can make the process more efficient, can, utilize, more, less of the employees' time so they could actually be doing more to generate business depending on your business, right? Or service a customer. So that's 2. And then 3, remember your marketing and your language and making sure you're targeting the right people. I mean, I think that is going to be, those 3 things I think are constants. So those are things that I would say they now and always, I would do those 3 things.
Oh, guys, be sure to rewind that, listen to it again. Let's improve those skills. Let's ensure our systems are up to date. And for the love of all of us, these small businesses owners,
Yeah.
Dina, yourself, myself, the people we speak to, you guys, you're the backbone of this economy, man. Let's keep this thing moving. Let's keep this thing driving. I love seeing the success. My listeners, I love you guys. I love everything that you guys have done. I love being with me. We're going on the 4th year of the show, but let me make sure you find yourself another valuable resource. Dina, how does the Catapult to Commissions family get connected with you? How do they learn about you? How do they learn about this client acquisition system? What's all those fun details?
So I want to offer to everyone in your audience, write this down, bookcallnow.com. So everyone, you can hit bookcallnow.com, and we're going to offer you guys a free breakthrough session like I shared with you that our clients that come in. So you can go on that link and book your call for any time. And one of our business strategists will spend the time with you and go through your entire process like we talked about and do a deep dive with you. And it'll be about an hour call, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. It just depends on the person and what they need, but that's the kind of care that you'll get. So come prepared and be transparent, and they can help you break through some of these things and identify some barriers that maybe you can't even see to help you get there. And then take you through the process of what it's like to be a client if it's a good match, if it's a good match for our system. So that's amazing. And we'd love to, help all your listeners, because that's what we do. We help small business owners, really take their business to the next level.
Bookcallnow.com, Catapult to Commissions family. If you're in the car right now, be sure to click that link. You'll also see the link down in the show notes for bookcallnow.com. You'll find the links to Dina's LinkedIn page and ability to get connected with her and all that fun stuff. Dina, we loved having you on the show. Thank you for being part of the Catapult to Commissions family. Wish you nothing but abundant success in the future.
Thank you so much, Anthony. And it was my honor and pleasure to be here anytime.
Glad to have it. All right, Catapult to Commissions family, it's that time of the show. You know what to do. Do me that big favor. Smash that like button. Be sure to subscribe, comment, shoot me a DM. Let me know your thoughts. How are you generating clients? Was today's show valuable? Do you have any feedback you'd love for me to share with Dina? Be sure to reach out to us in the DMs, and I will see all of you next week.